Months passed, and Lena's life became an endless cycle of self-punishment. The guilt of what she had done to Rachel looked at her every day, and yet something else had crept into her life, a secret that was impossible to ignore. It had started with a missed period. Lena had tried to brush it off, telling herself that it was just stress, just the weight of everything she had done finally catching up to her. But then came the nausea, the exhaustion. The signs were undeniable. She took the test one morning, the faint second line glaring back at her. She was pregnant. Lena sank to the floor, her body trembling. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ethan's child, the child she could never tell him about, the child who was a constant reminder of the mistake that had torn her life apart. She spent the following weeks in a haze, not knowing what to do. She couldn't keep the child, could she? It was too much, too many memories of betrayal and lies. But she couldn't bring herself to terminate the pregnancy either. This child, as much as it is symbolizing everything that had gone wrong, was also a piece of Ethan that she could never have again. It was a twisted reminder of her own choices. In the meantime, Rachel had become a shadow of herself. Despite everything, she still clung to the hope that Ethan and her would build a lovely family. But there was coldness between her and Ethan. Now, one that neither of them had been able to bridge. Rachel's desire for a family, a life like the one she had imagined with Ethan, had never been fulfilled. She longed for what Lena had ruined. One evening, Ethan arrived at Lena's apartment, his face hard with resentment. The silence between them felt thick, suffocating. He knew about the pregnancy, of course. There was no way she could hide it from him. "You can't keep it, Lena," Ethan said, his voice low and bitter. "You ruined everything. You think this child will fix anything? It won't." Lena stared at him, the words cutting deeper than she thought possible. "It's not yours to decide," she replied, her voice shaking with the anger she had buried for so long. "You had a choice, Ethan. You could have walked away. You could have stopped it, but you didn't. You chose to be a part of this. And now?" Now she had to face the consequences of her actions. But it wasn't just the consequences of what happened between them. It was the consequences of all the lies, the betrayals, the shattered dreams. The argument spiraled out of control. Ethan yelled, his anger finally spilling over, and Lena could do nothing but retreat into herself. "You think I want this child?" Ethan shouted. "You think I want a constant reminder of what you did? No, Lena. I don't want anything to do with you or your mistakes." Lena's heart broke, but she didn't show him the tears that threatened to spill. "You don't get to tell me what I should or shouldn't do with my life, Ethan." And these words she left. She couldn't stay any longer. She had nothing left in this place, nothing left with him. The child inside her felt like a foreign presence, and yet it was all she had left of the man who had ruined her life. As she left Ethan, Rachel's life began to unravel in a different way. The pain of Lena's betrayal, of Ethan's rejection, had taken its toll on her. She had always been fragile, but now, without the dream of a family to hold on to, Rachel spiraled into a despair. The last threads of her hope snapped when she found out about the pregnancy. Rachel felt utterly betrayed, abandoned by both her best friend and her husband. She locked herself in her apartment, refusing to answer calls or see anyone. The walls around her heart had closed in, and she couldn't hear anything. It was a day that Lena would never forget, a day when the phone call came. It was from Rachel's sister. "She's gone, Lena," her sister said, her voice a hollow whisper. "Rachel, she's gone." Lena felt her world collapse. Rachel, the girl she had once loved like a sister, the girl she had destroyed, had taken her own life. The guilt, the regret, the shame, it all came crashing down on Lena with a force she couldn't escape. She wanted to scream, to yell, to somehow undo what had been done, but she knew that nothing could fix the devastation she had caused. Rachel was gone, and it was her fault. Ethan would never forgive her. He would never want anything to do with her or the child they had created together. As she stood at Rachel's funeral, Lena felt as if she were suffocating. Ethan was there too. Though they didn't speak, his eyes were cold, distant, hating her more than ever. He blamed her for Rachel's death. He blamed her for everything. Lena's life had shattered beyond repair. She had lost the one person who had ever truly cared for her, and in the process, she had lost herself. The child inside her, once a symbol of her misguided desire to hold on to something, anything, was now a haunting reminder of the love she had destroyed, the future she had ripped apart. She would never be the same. There was no redemption, only regret. And in the quiet hour of the midnight, when her thoughts were the loudest, she wondered if there was ever any hope of finding peace with the destruction she had left in her wake. But even as she cradled the life that grew inside her, she knew that nothing would ever fill the emptiness she felt. Not the child, not Ethan's hatred, not even the memory of the life she had once dreamed of. It was over, and Lena was left alone, drowning in the consequences of her choice and selfish desires. Hello everyone, thank you for watching Jessie's channel, and please watch more stories to keep the channel growing, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.